Welcome to Empowering Plans, a show dedicated to identifying waste and undue expense in the health benefits industry, discovering ways to maximize benefits while minimizing costs, and empowering employers, administrators, and consultants to emphasize, once again, the benefit in benefit plan. Today's episode is brought to you by the FIA Group, empowering plans since 1999. Now here are your hosts, the FIA Group's own CEO, Adam Russo, and Senior Vice President and General Counsel, Ron Peck.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Empowering Plans with the FIA Group. I am your co-host, Adam Russo, the CEO and co-founder of this great company. And with me, as always, is the great, the unforgettable Ron E. Peck. Say hello, Ron.
Hello, Ron.
Ron, there's an empty seat between us.
I
and
can
it makes
see
me
you.
so. Do you know something? I'm so happy today.
I've got a clear sight line to Adam Russo.
I
and it
just
feels
feel
so
better
good.
knowing Brady's not here. How about you?
A huge weight off my shoulders.
It's, Brady is at a conference. I believe he's at the Pareto Captive Conference right now. He's down there having his drinks, having his mimosas in the morning or whatever he's doing. But it's just so nice to have a day where it's just you and me. It's refreshing without him trying to just invade in our space.
It's old school.
It's nice.
It's old school. It's retro. It feels good. Real good.
I'm even wearing my Browns t-shirt today, which I haven't worn in years because of my embarrassment of following the team. But I pulled it out today, Ron. I got a little cobwebs on it, but I'm really excited about wearing this
Well,
shirt.
Adam, I actually just sent you my CBS News feed. Just sent me a link to a story where Snoop Dogg visited the Browns, and the coach for the first time ever.
Snoop Dogg,
had
Dog
to
Pound, makes sense.
Literally, the coach of the team, he had to explain to his team how to handle success and popularity, and they've never had to have this conversation before.
It's been 30 years since we've had to have that discussion. It's amazing. Anyways, folks, I know you're not here for Browns talk or for Pat's Patriot talk. You're here to talk about what is it that we want to talk about, and I'm going to explain this to you. Later on this month, I will be speaking at TABA, which is the Texas Association of Benefit Administrators. I'll be speaking at their conference. And what they asked me to talk about was, what do we expect to happen in 2019? What are the big hot topics? So I figured this would be a great way to segment into that because there's a bunch of stuff. You can go all the way from, how the new Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh, how him being on the bench now will affect the ACA and what will happen with self-funded plans going forward. You could talk about association health plans. We can go all the way to transparency when it comes to specialty drugs. So I just thought today would be a good day to talk about some of the big issues that we see. And for those awesome listeners out there, feel free to email us or contact us via our social media site or on LinkedIn, wherever you want to, and just tell us what are the big ticket items that you see. Our plan is for November and December to have a two-part series for our webinars to focus on what we expect in 2019 and predict. We're not going to have Brady predict because he's always wrong in his predictions. But actually, we could have Brady predict, and then you could just do the opposite.
Assume the reverse. That's it.
Perfect. That's what we can do as well. I have a friend like that. Whatever he bets on, I just bet on the other team, and it's worked out well for me for about 30 years now.
Consistency is all that matters, Adam.
So I guess the first thing I want to talk about, Ron, is, what do we think is going to happen with the ACA? I mean, what are your thoughts on it? I think, if anything, some piece of it might go away. But at the end of the day, the main things, the pre-existing condition exclusion, I don't see that changing. I don't see the minimum age, 26-year-old changing. I don't see anything changing in regards to annual maximums. What are your thoughts?
Sure. So I think that the ACA is a good place to start only because it's one example of a general theme that I think you're going to see in 2019, which is a time of change or evolution of existing things rather than the creation or elimination of things. And what I mean by that is, in years past, you saw new laws being passed. You saw laws being reversed or removed. You saw new ideas, right? Cost containment programs, things like that being created, others becoming illegal. But the point is, it was a bunch of new things and a bunch of old things going away, new things coming in. I think 2019, and your point about the ACA, how it's not going to be removed, but rather sort of revised, I think that's going to be true for most things in 2019. I think this is going to be the year where you start to see the dust settle on a lot of things, and things are going to change. So with the ACA as an example, I think you've seen some states pushing back on constitutionality. I think those questions are not necessarily going to lead to the ACA being eliminated, but rather how it's interpreted or applied, there's going to be revisions to it. So be prepared to follow these things in order to adjust your plans rather than expect things to be completely eliminated.
So Ron basically saying is not much in 2019. Now he's looking at 2020. Very similar to like the Browns winning the Super Bowl in 2020. That's when we see real changes. I am, Ron. I mean, I'm looking at the decline of the Patriots and the rise of the Browns being at the same time. That's what I'm looking at, like a roller coaster. The Pats are going to go down, the Browns will go up. Very similar to the ACA. We're going to see some dust. I agree with you. 2019, some things will change, but the reality is until 2020, I don't think the dust is really going to settle on it.
No, I agree. I think that 2019, again, I'm calling this the year of whiteout and duct tape, where you're going to try and fix things and change things rather than remove things or add things.
The next big thing that I want to focus on, what people are talking about, are association health plans. I think there's been a big splash about them. I don't see much coming out of it, to be honest with you. I know, Ron, recently you read and you've done some research on associated health plans and how it's going to affect, again, our focus is on how will this affect self-funded employers overall. Any feedback or you want to share with us in regards to that? People were talking a lot about association health plans and how this could be a big opportunity for self-funded employers. But Ron, you've done the research. Is it a lot of talk? Or are we actually going to see any substance? Do we think anything's going to change with this?
And here we go again, right? Like I said, 2019, the year of duct tape and whiteout. 2018, 2017, you see laws like this being passed. Brand new, fresh, has that new law smell. And everyone's saying, it's going to change everything. 2018, 2019, I think that, again, is where you're going to start to see the dust settle and people realize, maybe there's not that much to it. We tweak this, we tweak that. The thing is, ultimately, the MIWA laws that have applied for a while now are going to apply to these association health plans. So that's going to tamp down it.
So if you have a self-funded associated health plan, you're subject to MIWA, which is state regulation. You have that now. You have that being subject to state regulation under a MIWA. It's been in existence already. So we don't see a big boom here.
And that's why, again, I think maybe you see slight tweaks here or there in 2019. And it's possible, Adam, to your point, that 2019 is almost an introduction year to 2020. It's absolutely possible that they end up making it a revision or an addition or a change or an amendment to the association health plan laws in 2019 that leads to a major change in 2020 and actually makes it very exciting or popular. But 2019 is, again, that year where you're going to see edits and additions and evolutions occur without any big splash until the next year.
So Ron's reading my mind. At the end of the day, what we're looking at is a class exemption for self-funded plans to get out of, these MIWA rule regulations. That potentially happening in 2019 with a big day, a big payday potentially in 2020.
There you go.
I mean, that's the bottom line is this. They're looking at potentially 4 million Americans joining an association health plan by 2023. Younger people, healthier people, wealthier people. Basically me. Right? Wealthy, young, good looking, happy, married, all those things. But by 2023, with all these new people joining the association health plans, having that class exemption so that they can be subject to ERISA would be a big opportunity for self-funded employers and administrators, vendors, etc.
I think 2019 is that year where we're setting the stage for major change in years to come. Another area like that, Adam, it's been a topic for a while now. Reference-based pricing, Medicare-based pricing, all these innovative new pricing methodologies. When it was a new concept and plans were first adopting it, it had a lot of movement. It created a lot of noise. And that, in turn, has created some pushback from providers. Now there's a bunch of different lawsuits that are raging.
Speaking of the lawsuits, right now, California, Colorado, Florida, Nebraska, Oregon, Texas, and Utah, 7 states have litigation where there are cases challenging the repricers, whether the vendors, the administrators, the plan, and their processes. 7 different cases. All those cases are still pending. Nothing's been resolved yet. But as you said, this stuff is happening. It's moving. 7 different states. There's only 50 states. That's pretty amazing that we have that many cases relating to reference-based pricing.
And that goes right back to the point once again. 2019 is going to be the year where you see these things shake out, and how these things develop in 2019 will set the strategy and the path ahead for 2020.
2019, the shakeout year. I mean, let me give you some examples. The reference-based pricing challenges that we're talking about, the seven lawsuits, these are the issues they're going over. Plan language issues, access issues, the breach of fiduciary duty, injunction and declaratory judgment, unlawful trade practices is being an argument used, implied contract and unjust enrichment. Ron always loved those unjust enrichment arguments.
I love it.
Misrepresentation, falsehood, and fraud being one. Balanced billing, maximum out-of-pocket, and patient collections arguments. Breach of contract and account stated arguments. And last but not least, interference with economic relations. These are the different arguments being put forth in all these different cases. Something's going to happen in 2019. We don't know what's going to happen, but clearly there's a lot of opportunity and there's a lot of job. Guys, let's be honest here. Our jobs are protected in 2019. There's going to be so much happening, so much of this gray area. But you're right. I mean, RBP is definitely an area where the dust probably won't settle until 2020.
You know, I haven't really watched any Major League Baseball since probably early
since
summer
the
when the Mets.
Since May?
Yeah, you know, I got to tell you, if the baseball season was the same as the football season, they would have done all right. But, you know, looking to an analogy with baseball, though, if you can imagine 2017, 2018, it's like when the ball first hit the bat, right? Player hits the ball, right? There was some sort of major impact. Something happened, whether it's reference-based pricing, carve-outs, changes in the ACA, the association health plan law, all the things we've been talking about, 2017, 2018, that's when all that rolled out. The bat hit the ball. 2019, the ball is in the air, and we have to watch it. And it's moving, and we're not sure where it's going to drop.
So might go foul.
Keep an eye on it.
But it might be a grand slam.
Might be.
We don't know yet.
We don't know. 2020, that's when the ball comes down.
It's
and
like the
you're
movie
gonna have to
Major
move.
League when they say too high, too high.
Too
right?
high. Back.
Too high.
Right?
It's just too high. Another big thing that people are looking at for 2019, the House recently passed a bill enhancing HSAs. So it's called HR 6199. It is the Restoring Access to Medication and Modernizing Health Savings Account. It passed by a margin of 277 to 142. What is the big deal here? The big deal here, it actually allows individuals who participate in direct primary care arrangements from losing their HSA eligibility and allow their fees, those provider fees, the monthly fees you're paying, you can actually use that in your HSA. That is a major, major development. Because up to now, you couldn't actually use money in your HSA to pay for a Dr. Tremblay's monthly, bill or PPM basis. Now you'll be able to if this law passes.
That's an example, once again, of the bat making contact with the ball.
2019.
Now we have to see how it shakes out in 2019
Right,
and
so
adjust in 2020.
This could be a big boon for Dr. Tremblay and other direct primary care providers like him in 2020. But until this actually passes, and until the public is aware of it, it's one thing that it passes, but then you have to make the public aware, hey, do you realize, are you aware of the fact that you can use the money you have in your HSA to pay the $70 a month that it costs to go see Dr. Tremblay?
And
that
I
is
think
big.
I think that is a responsibility for us. I know Dr. Gold is very excited about it as well. I know everybody who's a member of the FMMA, the Free Market Medical Association, they're all excited about it. But again, until you actually do something with it, nothing's going to happen. So again, I think 2019 is the year where we do what we can to try and set the stage as much in our favor as possible so that things are in the right place come 2020.
Another big area that I think people need to look at, particularly self-funded employers, even if you're not self-funded, but why would you be listening to our podcast if you weren't self-funded?
You're intrigued.
I guess that would be, right? But now more and more employers are being mandated to have, based on state law, paid family and paid medical leave. Those leave of absence provisions may not match what your plan document says based on ERISA. So if your handbook, based on a state, like for example, recently Massachusetts just joined a bunch of other states that adopted laws providing paid job protected leave with a maximum period that's way more than the 12 weeks required by the federal FMLA laws. So depending on what state you're in, you may be required to cover a lot more than what's being mandated in your plan document. And that's going to be all about what? Eligibility issues. If you have a big claim, trust me, everyone's going to look to make sure that person is eligible in the first place. And this is somewhere to look. 2019, big year for this, Ron.
Fix it up. I swear, revenge of the gap, right? It's so funny because I've noticed a lot of the conflicts and issues that we've dealt with in 2018, particularly the latter half of 2018, has to do with a misunderstanding on the part of plan administrators and the entities that service them regarding the fact that a plan document doesn't live on an island. People constantly look at the plan terms and they say, well, ERISA preemption, we do what the plan document says. They don't understand that there's an interaction between the plan and these other contracts, the handbook, the network contract, and those things are controlled by state law. And yeah, maybe your plan document preempts state law in a vacuum, but it doesn't exist in a vacuum.
Right.
And ultimately, you as a plan may be doing exactly what the plan document says, and you haven't breached your fiduciary duty. Good for you. But as an employer, you violated state law. Have fun with that.
The last thing I want to bring up, which I think is going to be a big play in 2019, is driving patient engagement, getting employees incentivized. Just over the past month, Ron, more people have come up to us and said, hey, can you share some of that incentive language you have where you're getting your employees to be consumers of healthcare rather than patients of healthcare? More have asked for that information recently than ever before. But what I think is going to be the key is it's one thing to be able to email Pat Santos, our fine producer, all the information on how he's incentivized. The future is technology. In 2019, what we expect, working with companies like BeWell, which we're working with, where there's push notification to your phone. So the minute that, I'm going to knock on wood, Pat, okay, I'm not trying to get you sick, but the minute Pat comes back from Japan, and he's got some rare disorder, right? He got some rare airborne disease.
He ate some bad sushi.
Right, really bad sushi. He comes back, he's sweating. He gets off the plane, right out of Logan. He goes to his doctor. The doctor writes him a script for some specialty drug. Right away, he gets a push notification saying, hey, Pat, you can go to CVS or any of Walgreens or any other fine drugstore, and you're going to have a $50 copay, let's say, for that drug. Or push here. Buy this drug online, waive your copay. Now, trust me, Pat's so sick, he's not going to be thinking, I better go on my portal. I better go online and see what I can do to waive my copay or what my deductible is going to be. He's sick. He wants to get cured. He just wants to take the medicine. But if that push notification comes to his phone and he can press a button and now waive his copay and deductible, guess what? He's going to do it. We've turned him into a consumer of care rather than just a patient of care. Those push notifications, getting people right on their phones without downloading an app, without accessing their email, no different than when the gate changes on your flight. How it just goes to your phone. I don't know how that even happens. But that push notification piece is a big, big piece of what's going to happen in 2019.
I absolutely adore my wife. She's a data analyst, and her job basically consists of taking data, digesting it, and figuring out what does it all mean. That is a job, and she's way smarter than I am, that takes a lot of training in order to do it. To expect everybody to be able to take tons and tons of data and information and come to a decision on their own, I think is unrealistic. And that's why, we as an industry, we've got all this transparency, all this data, all this information.
And also, we here at the company, we care because it's our job. Like, we're in the business, But if you're just a manufacturing company, your employees aren't thinking about this stuff all day.
Keep it simple, stupid. That's why you have to take all of this data, all this information, and you have to boil it down to a simple, hey, Joe, do this, not that, and you'll save money.
Right.
Boom. Easy.
If Pat Santos, instead of being the producer of our show, was at any other company, trust me, he would know nothing about healthcare. He knows more about health insurance probably than anyone at this company just because he has to, the poor guy has to listen to all these podcasts and make all the edits, right? But at the end of the day, 2019 is going to be a big year. I think it's a year that we're not really sure what's going to happen. I agree with you, Ron. It's going to be a lot of just wait and see, where 2020 is going to be the year that, all right, we have some more stability in the marketplace, some more stability when it comes to the law, and people will start being able to implement and actually see some progress in some of the changes that we're going to see in next year.
Just remember, 2019, the ball's in the air. You have to keep your eye on the ball because come 2020, you don't want to drop it.
Folks, don't forget we have a special, amazing webinar October 18th on specialty drugs. I know we have a guest speaker on that one as well, which I'm really excited about. We'll look forward to announcing that on the 18th. But last thing I'll say, Ron, is this. 2019, your Mets are still going to be bad. Your Patriots probably won't make the playoffs. The Indians will win the Central, but that's it. And the Browns will, this is my word, next year, not this season, 2019 season, we will win the American Football Conference. We will be champions of the AFC. That's just my belief. But I say that, actually I haven't said that about the Browns in a long time, but that's my feeling for next year.
Adam, on your behalf and to your credit, I hope that Brady's predictive skills haven't rubbed off on you.
Well, I appreciate that. I do. Folks, thank you so much for joining us here today in Empowering Plans with the FIA Group. On behalf of Ron Peck and myself, your co-host Adam Russo, thank you for empowering your plans with the FIA Group. Have a great day.
Thank you.